Today I want to have a look at how we worked with Cafe Nero on a shoot which involved a lot of travel, involved some lightweight setups, but we still needed everything to feel very premium and have that glossy, lovely edge that we like to bring to our projects that's still moving. We were working in El Salvador and Honduras, and we can't just take all of our studio equipment out to a location to achieve what we need to achieve. It was just Rithika and myself, Rithika acting as first AC and also helping out with any lighting strokes that we were able to do, and then I'm just operating the camera and trying to direct people as to what I'm going to need them to do in front of the lens. For our A camera we took the URSA Mini Pro. That allowed us to capture everything as Blackmagic RAW, which was really useful. It allowed us to be very quick, and the file sizes were so reasonable. We were at the higher compression rate, 12:1. Lenses, we were going with the Schnieder Xenon Cine lenses, but we couldn't take the whole set, again because of weight and having to trek out the coffee plantations. So for that, I just went with 25, 50, 75. I kind of knew that within that range that would give me everything I needed, and most of the time I just sit on the 50. If I need to get a wide shot, I've always got the 25, and if I need to be able to shoot something a little bit further away on a longer lens for any reason or separate a subject out from the background, I can always jump to the 75, but the 50 gives me most of what I need, and then I'll have that on a follow focus setup with a little finger wheel to be able to throw focus through the range accurately and repeatedly. With an easy rig, I can just rock that all day, no problem. Rithika then would be making sure that all of that camera stuff is up and running, making sure we have batteries with us, making sure we have the alternate lenses, making sure the lenses are clean, and also helping out with any lighting. For lighting, we can't take the studio lights that we've got here. Everything has to be either battery powered or passive. In terms of active lighting, we had the Lykos LED panels with us. Having these on hand was really useful. If we had had the entire crew there, then maybe I'd have bought in some Kino flows, or we'd be using the braw LEDs that I'm using now, or maybe we'd have an HMI so we have a slash of light in the background. Didn't have those options, so just went with what we had and made it work, and it comes out looking really nice as long as you know the limitations. They're powerful enough that we can get a reasonable amount out of them, and most of the locations were outside, so it was only a couple of indoor locations that we actually used these on. The first was a location we didn't actually realize we were going to be going to. It was somewhere the coffee buyer just wanted to stop off and have a look. We looked at the room, thought, this is kind of cool, we could do something here. So whenever I go into a location, if I know I don't have much time, I'll try and change 3 things. So for this, first of all, I walked in and went, the lighting's all overhead, it's fluorescent, it's not that nice, can we kill the lights? And they said, yeah, that's fine, so we killed the lights. Then I started looking at what else we can do. We looked at where the windows were positioned, looked at where the table was. We can't move the table, so we just shot from the angle which was giving us the most window light in the right direction. And then third, we got Rithika with the Lykos panel. Actually, we wrapped, wasn't actually a bit of paper, it was a bit of tissue paper, just over the front of the light. And she just Hollywooded that as the guys went down the line tasting the coffee, just on the opposite side to the side that I was filming. And we got this lovely little catch light. It wraps around enough. There's enough window light falling in the background. We actually ended up augmenting this with one more Lykos bouncing into the ceiling to give it a little bit more light in the background rooms. But that worked out really well, and it was quite a flattering light just in the eyes and a little bit detail. I'm not particularly wide, I'm just working close, but it gave us what we needed for that particular shot. Second location we used the Lykos panels was again for a cupping indoors. This is in a dry mill, so it's a very noisy, dusty environment, but the area that we were in was actually a very small room cordoned off within the bigger factory. Immediately walking in, we see we've got horrible overhead lighting, so the first question is, can I turn this off? And the answer is yes. Second question, what can we do to influence the way we're shooting? Well, on this side we had frosted glass and frosted glass, but this side is actually facing into the factory, so it's quite dark. So immediately, that's the side I'm putting myself on so that we get shooting into dark to get layers. This side is next to some roller shutter doors, so we get a little bit of natural light falling through those frosted glass windows. But it wasn't quite enough. The light level in the room was actually really low at this point. So I got Rithika to Hollywood both of the Lykos panels flat against the glass. She just stood there like a trooper, for the whole time I was filming this, holding these Lykos panels against the glass. And because it was frosted, it actually gave us a nice rappy diffusion and actually worked really well. It's a very convincing scene just with effectively window light and neg from having nothing coming in on this side. Works beautifully. We had 3 people in that, and I was able to step outside the room. I did just stay on the 50 for this. Shot through the doorway, got my wide shot, and then I was able to jump in and get the close shots as well. But it gave us enough to work with. I am almost wide open on most of the shots. I'm right at the edge of where I'd like to be, but it was just enough to work it. So take out the overhead lighting, shoot into the right direction, don't try and work against what the room is giving you, and then just augment what is being cast through the windows with a little bit of extra if you need it. The last time I used the LED lights was in a location where they were doing some roasting of beans just to test them. So it was a very, very small coffee roaster. And we had 5 minutes to get this shot. I ran into the room. I'm on the 50mm at this point. Rithika just runs in, holds the lights up on the opposite side of me. We had this good routine going, and she knows roughly where I'm going to want the light immediately because it's always the direction I'm shooting, go on the other side, try to avoid being in shot, and that pretty much gives us what we need. So she just boosted those up into the ceiling, gives us a sort of slightly toppy, but again, on the correct side for us, giving us shape, and gave everything enough life in the metal, in the beans, in the person's hand as they reached down, just shut off all the overheads. There wasn't really anything coming in through the windows, and you can get something very effective just with those 3 steps every time. What can I achieve in this very limited amount of time? If you've got an assistant with you, you can just get them working with that and knowing where you need them to be.